Hi guys, you're welcome to the Lavere Studios. We're going to be wrapping up the Android UI with this particular tutorial, the Boom menu. Let's get to look to integrate menus that can boom and that can actually split into different sub icons or sub menu, whereby you can have multiple activities or fragments created from the Boom. I'll be moving straight to Android Studio where I'll be explaining the source file and details, and we'll be giving credit to the library, the Nightonke Boom Menu, that actually provided this library full of methods to use to get a good boom and have your UI, move to let's say the new level. Right there in Android Studio, I'll be talking about the build Gradle, the module session, where I'm going to have the dependency boom menu. This particular compile is very important in this integration. After including the compile, you need to synchronize Gradle. We'll be using the boom menu in different examples. In the share activity, where you have the share icon. In the list view, where you're going to have a sort of submenu beside a list, and also you integrate in the recycler view and a plain normal view. So that leads us to different activities and layouts. The builder, activity XML, the easy use, the share. These are all holding to different sections of this particular sample. Now we'll look at the activity main, which is the launcher activity. Let's get to feel around the different analogies, the different examples that were actually highlighted. We have the scroll view that actually holds onto the full page view. What about a linear layout follows in there? We have text view and radio group to actually depict different UI section that you can use. You can actually use a radio button to implement the Boom library. Now this is a text view. This is for the radio button, the radio group. What about you have radio buttons right inside the group? This is circle button. We have a text on it that actually has the hamburger button. No, this is actually written on the button itself. Now we have for the seek bar. We're going to actually check integrate for seek bar. A text view that's like a label of the seek bar. Another one asking for the boom type. We have a radio group. Another radio group. We have a seek bar. We get to look at these in the rendering library to actually shows us what the text layouts are all talking about. We have for the checkbox. The major focus for this particular session is going to come downwards, which is for the menu button. This is where the major focus of this particular library is being pointed at. Where you get to have a different style being called on a button click. Now we're going to have the activity share, the easy use, the builder, and the list view. These are all going to be instantiated from the button click to different activity of this from the main activity, or from the activity main XML, which is also from the main activity class. Let's get to look at the share. The seek bar. These are just examples of how to use the seek bar and also the text views. The major focus is still based on the boom menu button there, which we assign an ID to it called boom. We get to see the share. This is actually holding the share icon and giving a boom effect, for sub menu right there. We get to look at that. We have for the list view. And we have the easy use. And you see the boom menu button. You need to include this tag this way. Become Nightonke Boom Menu, calling the boom menu button class. Same thing goes for the build and the activity builder. Now let's get to look at the custom action bar. This is actually holding on to the action bar, which is the toolbar. And you see the tag, no, calling its ID. Now we have text view. This for the info is up to 2. Let's get to look at the item XML. This is for each item. You have the boom menu items. All right. We'll be looking at the Java classes, but before that, let's get to look at the drawable used. We have the boom menu PNG. We have for the GitHub icon, heart, info for Java. No, these are just icons that were used to depict different menu icons. Marks, record, search, and settings. The major focus will be in the Java classes. The main activity of this particular application. We get to include the library, boom menu, button, the boom type, the button type, the click effect type, and all other methods, the order type, the place type, all will be used in the boom menu integration. We created private fields. No, these are all length for the button type group, the button number seek, the button text, the click effect for the radio group, the checkbox, no, even for the progress bar. Now the focus here is the view on click listener. The onCreate method set the content view activity main layout with the XML explained, and the fields are being instantiated where you set the display home enabled, as to show home enabled, calling on its appropriate ID, title text, boom. Now we have the init views method passed into the onCreate method. We have the Windows focus change to actually change the particular window in question. The init info boom. Let's look at the init boom. Okay. Calling the number, we have the button number seek by getting the progress dialog. Now we have to call on the drawables resources for the mark, the refresh, the copy art that I showed earlier, and the strings. Now we're passing values to the menus. The refresh, the copy, the art. So for each, this is for a list, for a counter at 0, you get the number of the strings and you iterate by 1. No? The same thing goes for colors. This is a multi-array where you passed in 2 index, I and 1. So if it's you get a random color, and this is if the index is 0. You're going to get this instance, and when it's pressed, the colors will be picked from the random color I and 1. That's fine. The same thing goes for the circle button and the hamburger button. So in case the button type group is actually circle button or hamburger button, it's going to pass in this functionality. Now with the builder, you can initialize the BBM more conveniently. So setting up a builder, you set the buttons, the boom, even the boom button shadow. That's while clicking the shadow you get from the boom. Now with the builder, you can initialize more conveniently again. Same thing goes just for the boom menu button. Now you're going to initialize the boom menu button in action bar. This is actually in the boom menu button itself. This is for the action bar. You have the init views. These are the major focus of the logic. No, when the button is being clicked, the circle button. You're going to set the maximum to 80. This is the button type group for either the sick bar. Okay, this for the sick bar. Okay. I would like to look at this. This is actually for the sick bar, the radio group. I want to look at the share menu and some other needed. This for the radio group. Lot of if statement. This is actually picking up the colors. Then on click, back pressed. Now, focus. We're going to start each activity, which is the easy use activity, the list view activity, the share activity, the builder activity, with an intent when it's being clicked. Now we get to look at all this activity, right? We get instantiated from the main activity. These are the buttons. So we get to look at the easy use activity, the list view activity, the share activity, and the builder activity from an on-click button. Let's look at the list view. I'll only be explaining just two. The list view activity extends the app compat activity where you set the on-create and the layout to the activity list view. Instantiated the list view, getting its ID and setting the adapter and the on item click listener to them. You get the count, get the item ID, and even get the view based on the position, the convert view, and the parent view group. This is the list view in question. So if the convert view equals to null, the view, you're going to instantiate the view order. Have the text viewer call the ID, cast it to the text view, pass it into the view order TV. The same thing goes for the circle boom menu button. Convert the view, and likewise the arm boom menu button. Else, the view order, you're going to convert the view and get the tag. Do some iteration here, getting the drawable, the refresh, the copy. So these are for the list menus beside the boom. When you click that, there's going to be a boom, and the for loop will run when the circle sub button drawable is being called, when the as button drawable is being called, and the random color too will be called on each circle. Button is being called. This is on the color string. You can see how the color. So this is actually deep. So I would like you to take your time to actually get along with the source files. Just don't pick it up and think it will just stick immediately. Try to get around with it. Know how different methods are being called and how they work, how classes are being instantiated. This is for the share activity. Share activity too is very important. You may need a share activity in your application where you need to. This extends app compat where we have the sickbar text view radio group. You actually don't need all this. You may not need the sickbar blah blah blah, but the share intent itself is what should entice you here. Is on the place radio button. The init views. Let's get to look at the init views. This is for the sick bar where you get the progress. However, I'll be looking at the Android manifest, where we're going to have the activity being logged into the manifest, the easy use, the list view, the share activity, and the builder activity. You need to record those in those activities. Else, a click on this button calling this particular activity is actually going to crash the application, giving a null pointer exception, because pointing to nothing. You have the launcher as the main activity, and the app theme as the theme of this particular application. Now I'll be uploading the source file to my GitHub account, and I'll be showing these in an Android emulator. So stay tuned. Here we go with the Boom menu. We have the button type. If you notice, I keep talking about the circle button and the hamburger button. For the button number, we have the boom type, place type, animation duration that you can use. Now you can decide to have a boom right here. This is for the menu at the toolbar. You click on this, gives you the boom. No, bye. You can create or send an intent right from this particular list shown, overlay the main UI. You can click right inside there, it disappears. Another boom menu comes up from the left, but this can be for the mark of favorite. You can even attach web services to this particular button. These are just like a template. Now let's get to look at for the floating action button. The same thing booms up. Our main focus will be right down for the buttons that call on different the three or four different activities. Okay, the easy example, the list view example, the share example, and the builder example. Let's get to look at the list view example. Now we have our list from 0 downwards. The major focus is these menus, the 3 dots, and the 3 horizontal bars. Now let's click on the dot first. Let's see what's boomed up. You get to see different functionality that you can extend more on a click on this. It goes back. Let's see for the get our sub list. Let's see sub menus in an horizontal format. It disappears. The same thing goes for other lists where you can tweak. This is actually calling different colors. You notice we have the color strings, which is in arrays. Let's get to look at the share example. Now this is the share icon. Click on share. You have 3 of it. Now you can even extend by placing the type. Can you see how it's been set up? But the major focus is having a boom menu that pops out from the major or from the controlling menu down to get more menus for display of a work, for more activity, so you can decide to do more with the menus instead of you fixed up on how to get activities calling, how to have other pages, how to have other displays. Your menu button should be your key, and now it's been done in a more beautiful way using the Boom menu library. Thank you very much for hanging out with me throughout this session, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.